So when I joined the chats, like the first thing he told the guys in the Telegram group chat was like, "Hey guys, he's not a scammer. He's actually like." First of all, I usually write. I write like blog posts, personal blogs, relating to what I do, whether I was in school, my life in school and all that. So that was my first introduction to like writing. I never even thought about documentation. I wanted to be a network engineer. I've always loved networking. I studied the Cisco associate exam. I passed it. I wanted to go fully into like networking and all that. But I saw that technical writing, people take technical writing as a career. I was like, are you serious? I met a girl in my school. Her name is Outreachy. She was always talking about writing. I reached out to her and she kind of introduced me to like documentation, and all that. So I said, maybe I might just take this thing as a career. Then I saw she participated in Google season of docs. I learned about the program. I was like, maybe I might participate in this stuff next year. Since I have this background with like just writing blogs, for my own personal newsletter and all that. So then I met Divine again. He also participated in Google season of docs. I was like, maybe I can just make this in my career. I mean networking. There are jobs in Nigeria for networking, definitely, but technically they seem to pay well, So I was like, maybe I might just go into this stuff. So then the next year, I applied for Google season of docs, and I saw Wikipedia, which is Wikimedia Foundation. I saw they were participating also. The way Google season of docs is, you don't know which company Google is going to fund. So if you pick a particular company and start contributing to them, it's just probably by luck. So, but first of all, you need to be sure, okay, maybe do I like this company? Do I like their product? And am I good enough to actually contribute?
So many people in open source started by contributing. Everyone wanted to contribute to the big tech that would get them their first job. And I said, I'm a student. Right now, I don't really care about the job. I do want to meet the community and have fun and make my project known one way or the other. So when Praduna said, why don't you make your project your starting point? I said, good.
When I started my tech journey, I started with game development, and it was fun. It was really fun. Developing something and seeing the result almost immediately. And game is fun, and gaming is fun, and like trying it. And again, for being a female in game development, kind of give you that vibe of, you doing game development, so cool. And you're like, yeah, it was actually awesome. But then I'm kind of like an explorer, although a tall Dora the Explorer. I'm not sure. I'm 5'8" there. So I kind of like exploring. I was like, okay, let me see something else in tech. I think I did tech and technical writing a little. I did data analysis a little, but I was not yet feeling it. Like I want something, art in a way. Like I want to do art things rather.
And then something odd happened really fast. HacktoberFest came around, and I got so many people flooding in. First time in tech, first time in open source. It was like, what is going on here? And I had to think of how to manage everything. I'm a maintainer, so I guess I had to think of how to maintain everything.
So I was like, okay. And I think I met my lecturer in school, Dr. Udumiwa. I think he came to class one time like that, and he was like, my class rep should, gather some people that are interested in software engineering, interested in tech generally. So she was like, hi, Bulu. And I was like, what is going on? Because, when your lecturer say he wants to see you, you're like, hope I didn't commit something. I didn't like miss a test or something. So I was like, okay. Then it was like, madam. I was like, yes. I was like, are you interested in tech? I said, yes. It was not like, is it for the money or for you to make impact? I was like, sir, na collabo. So it was like, all these Unila girls and stuff like that. So it was like, okay, you guys should come to the hub. There's this hub in school need hub. So it was like, you guys should come so period and all. So that was how I like started.
When I started IT, that was like in April this year. We fully started the club. I reached out to people. We did our first workshop introduction because almost everyone that joined the club, they were newbies. Like they don't really know things about GitHub. They don't know things about open source and everything. So we did our first workshop. I shared documents that you can read, and before we start contributing to issues and all. So before we start contributing to issues and all, and along the way, I started telling them, okay, you can start contributing to issues. Start looking for problems you are interested in, problems that you think you can solve and all. But it was also not easy for them. I really don't know why that is. It is not that easy. But it's also not easy for them. So the lead and I decided to start to do a project for She Code Africa OAU. Now, the idea of the project is, since you are newbies and not everybody know how to code, we're going to create a resource hub for She Code Africa OAU, and for each stack, like front end, back end, cyber security, project manager, any stack, everything is going to be like the resources, how to start, beginners, intermediate, and advanced. So, and we're going to create the resource and add the project to HacktoberFest, and then to give the girls opportunity to contribute and participate in HacktoberFest 2024.
Most of the time, what you do before open source just translates to like what you do when you start open source. So if you're a front-end person, there's a chance that the open source organization should be more attracted to be maybe a front-end framework or whatever. So for me, I already started doing machine learning right from the start, and I was just looking for projects that involved data and its application. So I think so those were like the organizations I was looking at. And in getting into MLH, I already had, so MLH does one thing where it looks at your project, looks at program languages you can write in, then it uses that to match you. It's different from GSOC, where you look for organizations by yourself, then you get into the organization's Slack or Discord or whatever. Like GSOC is actually also, because for that contribution period, you're hustling with other people because they probably only want to pick one person, but they may have different projects, but one person per project. So GSOC, you get into their Discord, you try to do a kind of pick me situation where you always want to make sure the project is it the project, what's the name again? Yeah, the project maintainer sees you and knows, okay, this person is very active, but it's different for MLH. MLH is, I'll say, pretty easy, but it's also very difficult because you might not get selected. So MLH relies initially on your essays and projects that you've worked on. So you submit a project that you built, and you describe what the project does. Then you answer a bunch of essays like what inspired you to start coding, or how can you contribute to MLH community and things like that.
I think generally in tech, how I found my niche, I started out with Python, like I mentioned, in the back end. But I've actually really dabbled into a lot of things out of curiosity and out of I'm trying to find my footing. I've done UI UX design, so I could understand Figma. I've done front end. I hate CSS. I hate JavaScript. I just figured out that I'm good at replicating, but I'm not good at starting out something. So it's not for me. And then I went to backend and everything made sense. So from there, I kept building up, and currently now I'm in the blockchain space. So I think it's how I found my niche in open source. I I think it's a combination of people's influence. So in my school, where I actually started out open source, there's this set of people that actually left, from Habib Shopeju to Stephen Kolawole. I think Madia, she was not maybe like in our school, but she had influence there. So when they left, right, there was this shortage of like qualified people to handle leadership in the community. And because I've had experience with it back with those guys, I had to come in. So from there, myself, Debo, we started like leading, and yeah. So I got into the Open Source Community Africa properly, as I'm currently a chapter lead there. And it's basically the influence of these people around me, the people before me. So yeah, that's how I did it.
It went from working on 4C to working on free Web3 resources. That was my biggest ever project, with like 3,000 stars on GitHub. Still Francesco like gave me 2 projects. He just invites me and I'll just have a conversation. Just like, okay, let me send you an invite. And then I'll jump on the project and I'll like start working my way around it. Then from there I got to Million JS. That was in like, I think December 2023 or January. I had like a short meeting with Aiden, and then I told him, oh yeah, I could actually do like several things for you. You could do like engineering, and I'll still help out with a couple of engineering bits. And then I was excited. The community was relatively small then. I joined, we did like so many cool things. We got the hype when Fireship featured us. That video has over 1 million views now from his YouTube. I was like excited. But yeah, like that night was crazy. So open source wise, it's mostly like 4C, Million, and then up until now where I just like work around project. I work on TanStack forms now, work on TanStack table. Also I'm working on Akiri Labs with a couple of guys, MetaMask and consensus engineers, like just like building AI, Web3, and just exploring that research and stuff like that. Yeah, that's pretty much it so far.
So yeah, Google Summer of Code is like an opportunity where students, not only students, anybody can get to work on projects in organizations for 12 weeks. So it's always within 12 to 16 weeks. Your projects can be extended to 16 weeks. But yeah, the standard normal project is 12 weeks. So how does it work? So there's a normal time frame that they use that I've been using since when I've been applying in 2022 actually. So companies, organizations, Python, and most organizations I can think about, TensorFlow, like they will submit projects to Google. That is their form of applying. So if Google accepts them, they get announced in February. So February, the organizations for GSOC get announced. So if you are now interested in participating in GSOC, you are going to go to the organization GitHub page or maybe Google Doc, or you just check the announced organizations on Google Summer of Code websites, and then you check the projects that they have listed per organization.
There was one problem with being a contributor first in open source. That is, it's way worse than being a maintainer because you have to learn the rules, you have to know who to talk to, or what you can do to fix a project. And so last year ending, 2023 ending, I thought of building a project that will ease that whole process for contributors. And this brought about open source PAL. As it's a PAL for open source, it's your assistant, it's your friend, I guess, if you are that direction. But the whole idea was you install it, you have it by your side on GitHub. It helps you with issues, give you steps on what to do. If you're lost, instead of going to Google, it's just right there. You can just look through it and then find what you're looking for.
For MLH, I was just shooting a shot. I really didn't plan MLH like that. So I was just trying to, I think I was going to be going on break. So okay, MLH seemed like a nice program. Let me try. And I already had a project built. So I didn't know that I was going to be matched with Meta. I didn't know that. And so, I noticed my interview stages were very fast. So did the first round, did the second round, and I was waiting to be matched. Then I got to know I got into the program. So that was already like another level of excitement on its own. Oh, MLH. And this program, they tell you acceptance rate, they pick only 5%, and MLH acceptance rate seemed lower than GSOC, and I was like, pretty big deal. Then the next, I think I was in school. I think I was just rounding up my day, regular class, and I think that email made my day, because the school can be very stressful, and you just see, the next level of excitement was when I got to know the organization I was matched with. So I didn't know there were a lot of options. I know some could match with GitHub, some Jupyter Labs. So then I saw, then I got the email letter. You've been matched with an organization. Then I was reading through the regular. Then I saw the name Meta. Then why I was crazily excited about this was because I had written, I think that year I had also taken a lot of interviews, big tech interviews, and I had been rejected a lot of times. So I remember I took Bloomberg, Amazon, and some other. So when I saw Meta, I was like, okay, if I can't get into Meta via the regular way, I guess I can get into Meta via open source. So I was pretty excited and stoked about that. So getting into working with research engineers at Meta was very nice, because they were specifically research engineers. Research engineers are guys that combine research and engineering. And to me, that like building. I have a little bit of research experience, but I saw research engineering as something for me. So it was really nice. And now I was matched with the project LASER. So LASER is language agnostic. Is a language agnostic model that helps you to generate multilingual embeddings. So what are embeddings? What is multilingual? Multilingual, multiple languages. Embeddings is just like a bunch of numbers that can describe data. Data could be text, could be images, whatever. So, and LASER helps you to generate embeddings independent of, irrespective of the language. So if I say bonjour and I say good morning, those are English and French, but they should be close together, like in an embedding space. They should be close because different languages, but the same thing. So that's basically what the project is about. So I worked on creating use cases for LASER. It mostly used in language machine translation. So I worked on that. I worked on the very first Python package for LASER, which is on PyPy. I was one of the major contributors. So yeah, very exciting, because I've always wanted to have a library on PyPy. Even if it wasn't my library, I was listed as one of the major contributors. So that was a big deal.
Outreachy is like a middleman. Although when you get internship, you would say you are an Outreachy intern under so organization. So because they're the middleman, you have to let them know that. You have to let the world know that they are the one that helped you in getting this opportunity. So the way it works is you apply to Outreachy. There are 3 phases. There's the initial application where you give your essay about how you're underrepresented, because that's what Outreachy kind of stand for. They help those that are underrepresented to gain their feet rather in open source, and put it that way. So you apply during the initial application. If you scale through, you get to the next phase, which is the contribution phase. So that contribution phase, Outreachy will be the one to source for projects from open source organizations. So they will list the old projects for you. Let me say about 20 something projects. Then you as an applicant will choose the one you want to go for. So the way it's listed, each project will have requirements. So you can actually say that, okay, this project requires someone that is into UI UX. This other project requires you to be into DevOps. This one requires you to be into software engineering, stuff like that. So they kind of list it for you. So Outreachy stands as a middleman. They bring they bring the projects to the open source applicant. No, not the applicant. To the open source. What word can I use now? Let me just use another way around it. So they just bring the projects to you that you're interested in contributing to open source projects. Because one issue is where do I find open source projects? So Outreachy just kind of bring it to you that okay, these are open source projects that you can contribute to, and you can also make money from contributing to this project.
I don't know particularly what was in his mind, but generally the idea behind Open Source Community Africa is actually to make Africa like it's a global spot for like the creation of like software products that are free to use. Yeah. But coming back to the community as a body, I think the goal is actually to make more people see the benefit of open source. So yes, the products are there, the softwares are there, but the benefit of open source to the individual himself, that's what I see as the major point of the community. So it's as a chapter lead, from my perspective, I could say that there are programs that we are expected to do every year. From the beginning of the year, we're expected to lead our people to participate in GSOC, GSOD, Outreachy. Then at the middle of the year, towards June, July, we're expected to push them to Oscar Festival, Open Source Community Festival. And then towards the end of the year, we're supposed to push them to participate in HacktoberFest. So that's our main responsibility. But moving on, we are also like encouraged to want to bring something new. Like for example, in Web3, we are doing this block source, so open source but in blockchain. So yeah, that's how it is.
Being African in the open source space is very interesting because it's very unconventional. So most times you're probably like the only person in the room that is from Lagos, Nigeria. That's like, oh hi, and maybe NEPA has taken your light, so you just be like in one dark room and you just put your Redmi Note 12 to like shine light on you. Hey everyone, I'm Toby Lover and I'm from Lagos, Nigeria. But like those were like some fun things. But like it just made those people I worked with appreciate it more because time zone differences was crazy. Probably working with some guy in New York or Washington, they're like maybe 4 or 6 hours behind you. So you have to like, if you want to like catch up at times, it's like night time. So I think that sort of like even made me to like just adapt to their time zone. So I just like I even live in their time zone now. So I would just be sleeping in the daytime or just watching TV and then sleep off. Then like at night I'll not be active. So yeah, just it's exciting and bad parts. I'm not exactly sure I've experienced the bad parts. No, not exactly, not really. But it was a fun day though when I was in a meeting with a couple of guys. They were building they were working on like a proof of concept for a new type of blockchain system, like a sentience blockchain. So he was telling me about so when I joined the chats, he basically like the first thing he told the guys in the Telegram group chat was like, hey guys, he's not a scammer, it's actually like so that was fun. I was like, okay, so these guys have done it again, they've ruined our grade globally, but yeah, so yeah, I mean it's fun, it's very like exciting.
International budgets are relatively difficult for us, for guys that are in Africa, but I think for Nigerians it's relatively easier. Why? Because one, we speak English as our first language. So and I was lucky that MLH gives you a bunch of time zones that you can work comfortably working in. So you select those time zones and it's based on those time zones. So time zone wasn't really an issue, language wasn't really an issue, but the issue was actually getting started on the project itself. So one thing that helped me was the previous contributor to the program was also a Nigerian. So I saw his pull request and I was like, I went to his GitHub and I was like, this guy is a Nigerian guy. Then reached out to him on LinkedIn. We hopped on a WhatsApp call and also I wouldn't say too much of like location is too much of a barrier. Although there's the general Nigerian issue, lights, internet can mess you up. So, but there are ways to get around that. We hope things get better. But I think generally there's really nothing stopping you. Basically, no excuses.
One difference is like maybe language barrier. I think many of us face it. Many times when I used to have meetings with my mentor, let me know, like sometimes they tend to go fast and I'll not hear anything. I'll say, okay. I'm not hearing you, sir. But and the funny thing is that on their end too, one of them is to complain that he does not understand what I'm saying. I'm like, I think I'm speaking very, very clear English, but be like, I'm going fast. I'm like, okay. So that is one thing that seems like a little bit of, and that thing is internet. Internet is sad. I mean, MTN, Glo, Airtel, bad triplets, the three of them, all of them. So like, I don't know. It's very sad. Like, it's so frustrating. Like, it's very, very, very frustrating. Sometimes you cannot even turn on your video, anything. Like, they even want to tell you to off it because it's not even be working. So yeah, like, internet can just be frustrating, and then national grid used to collapse every week, and then so yeah, like, those are the funny thing is that they don't understand over there. So imagine me telling them that our national grid collapsed, like, what do you mean your national grid collapsed? Or like, so yeah, those are just been the different things. They don't treat us differently, but I just like it's just our own issues on our own end, like internet, the lights, and just how sometimes it might not work or you don't have lights and stuff like that. So yeah,
there's nothing so different being Nigerian. It's a very unbiased organization, irrespective of your nationality, your gender. They will tell you that I think 90-something% of women are the ones selected, but then they still actually select those that are male also, and some other genders that we have. So yeah, it's not so different being Nigeria there. It's not so.
I think when it comes to open source, because nobody is paying you, giving you value, I haven't noticed any difference as an African, as a Nigerian. But when it comes to the point where open source benefits start showing, yeah, your heritage, which I don't know if I should call it that, starts coming out. Like the perks, the pros or the cons start coming out. So, yeah, being African, I mean, it's just a matter of your skill set. If you are good enough, you make contributions to projects, a package, whatever, and it gets accepted, it's fine. Nobody actually do check where is this person coming from, who is this person. They just review your code, and once it's fine, it goes. So yeah, that's usually it. So I don't think there is like any defining difference that's affects an African when it comes to open source contributions.
I remember my GitHub campus experts opening call. So I had planned for it because they send the call invite like a week before. So I already planned for it. I'm going to join, and they say we must join the call, and I was ready. My laptop was set, my phone connected to Wi-Fi, and it was just like to join the call. I just could not get in. It kept rolling. Like I did not get into that call, the welcoming call. And the other one that they were doing, I think I missed the time, so I could not join the call. And I went to reach out to them. Sorry, did they say anything? Like I was scared that maybe I've even lost the opportunity just because of network issue. And there was this GitHub one-day mentorship thing that they did too. The same thing happened because of network issue. Like my network just went blank. I was with my friend there, and it was not going. Like you were going just now and you're not going now. What happened? They said go and use Airtel SIM card. And you see me, I started knocking from room to room. Please, I'm using Airtel SIM card until I found someone and I was able to join the mentorship home. So for me, network has been a big issue that's been really disturbing. And yeah, being in Nigeria, network, time, location. Also sometimes the calls or stuff they are doing might be like
midnight because of the time zone difference and all.
Honestly, I'm trying to think if there would have been any difference if I was a guy. But I can't really, the only thing I think that might be a little bit different, that maybe people looking at you that this auntie, she's a she's good, she's coding, she's a coder. You get, they look at female ladies as female coders as nets, all those kind of stuff. You get, so like a lady doing tech. But sometimes it can be annoying because I feel like that everybody should be able to do something that they want to do. So the fact that I'm a lady does not mean that I'm like special or all this kind of get. The same thing that you face is probably the same thing I face. So I can't say it has been different, like at least from the end of like from the other people's end, the organization end and all this kind of stuff. There's nothing much different. But like maybe sometimes when I tell someone, or same thing like when I tell someone I'm studying engineering, I'm like, an engineer, you're a woman, how come? How are you surviving? All those kind of weird-ass annoying questions. So like, how are you surviving? Why are you woman in engineering? Get that kind of thing. So same thing like maybe I'm doing tech or I'm doing coding. So I'm like, oh nice, you must be very intelligent. No sir, I don't think I'm very intelligent. But yeah,